Hello, it's Dr. Rafael Gutierrez. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to actually address something that I see come up over and over again, and I may have talked about it in the past, but want to just hit the point again, and that is, should you change kata? Now, there's some people who immediately say no. That's the way the masters taught it. It hasn't been changed in hundreds of years. Why should we change it? And there are other people who actually say, well, look, we're not living in the same time period. Maybe we should actually look at what's going on. And so before I actually address that, I'm going to tell you that my background is in medical science. I do have a medical doctorate. I've taught clinical anatomy to doctoral candidates, to physician assistant candidates. I've done seminars in clinical anatomy, and actually my real job is teaching anatomy, physiology, microbiology, different times. And so I do have my own view, but I'm going to address my view later on. And I'm not really going to say whether you should or shouldn't change it, but I'm going to actually first go into what the old teacher said. And the first person I'm only going to quote one person, and I'm going to show you other stuff. But I'm going to actually quote from this book, Essence of Okinawan Karate by Shoshu Nagamine. And if you have it, you'll notice that one of the things he says is that let us remember that in some cases, it is permissible to revise an ancient art to make them modern and popular. Now, pretty much what he is telling us is, look, sometimes you actually do have to change stuff. But there's a reason why. It doesn't mean you throw everything out. It just means you make modifications to things to work. I don't want to touch too much on what I think, but in here I will tell you I believe kata is a tool. And the tool actually has to be usable by the people using the tool. And so you actually want to actually digest it, dissect it, and see what it is. Now, there are a lot of different people who might want to change the kata. Sometimes it's changed because someone goes into the tournament circles. And in tournaments, there are specific rules. There's specific things that people are looking at. And if you do not adapt to those rules, you do not win. So if you're trying to do a tournament, well, you kind of have to do what the rules are, or what are you there for? Now, if you're going to tournaments just to have fun and to meet different karateka, meet different people, then that's one way to look at it. But if you're there to win medals, yes, you're going to want to change your karate to make it so you win the medals. I do remember meeting a gentleman actually pretty long ago now, who the katas in his style were not represented in the tournaments. So his teacher ended up adding katas from the styles that were winning tournaments and did it the way they were. And so he changed and modified his style. He added katas that weren't necessarily there. And so tournaments, if you're in tournaments, chances are you're going to want to modify your katas for the tournament you're trying to win. Now, there are other types of people who may actually want to change their kata, and that's because they may join a new organization. Now, sometimes what happens is someone gets in an argument with their organization and branches off, finds a new organization. That new organization will tell them, okay, you can join us, but you have to make these modifications. If that's the case, obviously you're going to have to change your katas to fit the organization you now belong to. If you're joining, and there's a lot of reasons besides the argument, there's actually a lot of people who their teachers pass away. They start teaching karate and they want to be part of an organization. Again, if you're moving from one organization to another, obviously you're going to have to change your katas to match the organization you're joining. Nothing wrong with that. That's just the way it is. There are some people who actually will say, well, I'm trying to preserve what my teacher and his teacher's teachers and his teacher's teacher's teachers were showing. And if that's your case, if what you want is a museum piece that is exactly like it was always taught, then that's actually one reason to maybe stay the way you are. But be careful, because one of the things we notice is over time, things have actually changed. Now, I'm actually going to use this book here, Okinawan Karate, the Exquisite Art, from the Classical Fighting Arts publishers. And I'm actually just going to show one picture here. And you can see, I know that this picture is available in a lot of areas, and you can see how they used to do, children used to do naihanchi back in 1930s. If you actually go to other pages, you can actually see, for instance, someone like sorry about this, trying to find the page. You can actually see how Motobu used to do karate back in the day. Motobu is, if you remember, the founder of Shitaru, and Shitaru now is done extremely low. And you can find pictures of him teaching karate here. Now, some people will say, well, he's not doing the kata there, he's trying to show a technique. And so, yeah, the way he actually did karate may be different than he does kata, but there's actually really neat things that I love in that picture, by the way. The other thing is, sometimes people say, oh, Funakoshi, he actually taught these long stances. And if you're trying to do what Funakoshi originally did, you can go to old pictures of him and see what he did. Now, the nice thing about this is if you're trying to preserve the old original karate, you now have images, and you can change your karate to go back to what it was before World War II by looking at the pictures and modifying your karate. Will it be perfect? Obviously not. But that is one reason that some people may want to change their karate, to revert back to the original. The last reason people may want to change their karate is because of new science. Now, if you watch sports, any sport, you'll see that the sports have changed because of different things. Sometimes it's because of safety equipment. So for instance, if you're actually using big gloves, your boxing may be here. If you're using just gloves that pretty much cover your knuckles, you may be over here more. If you look at how boxers versus MMA fighters start, you'll see a variation because of the safety equipment they're using. And that actually will lead to changes in how people do their martial art. But also, the other thing that can happen is we can see that certain things cause damage. By taking new science, we can end up saying, okay, well, look, if we put our back a certain way, we're going to end up developing back pain. We have kinesiologists who actually now can tell you, yeah, you stand like this, you're going to have back pain. Your discs are going to be your back's going to be out of alignment, and you're going to pinch nerves. If you stand like this, you're going to destroy your knees. And so with new sciences, we can actually modify our karate so we can last longer. I am a, right now, 48-year-old man, and I always hear people say, oh, by 35, by 40, martial artists have back pain, knee pain, hip pain. I don't have any of that. The only thing I have is every so often I have a stiff shoulder, which I think I probably injured it doing something else at the time. I think I injured it when I was in college doing rock climbing. Yes, you're going to get injured and you're going to have different things, but there's certain things that the new sciences can actually tell you is good or bad for your body. And so the thing is, there's a lot of reasons why to change katas. There's reasons why not to change it. And that's actually fine. If someone wants a museum piece, it's fine. I mean, if you're trying to preserve the art the way it was always taught, you can do that. Chances are, if you're trying to do it the way it was taught in the past, you're going to have to change. If you're trying to preserve what your teacher taught you, then you actually don't necessarily want to change kata, because you're trying to teach what your teacher taught you. You're preserving that. Now, I'm lucky in that my late teacher was really big on you have to figure out what you're doing, you have to figure out the why you're doing it, and the how to do it better. You cannot just rely on the way I do it. He was big on things have to progress, especially now that we have pretty much kinesiology, biomechanics, anatomy, and physiology to make things work better. And so I actually see a future of martial arts which is a little different than what we have. Now, usually when you go to a seminar, usually you have someone who's a high-ranking master in their area. I've actually got a chance to meet a lot of interesting masters at some point. And each one does things a little different. They're trying to preserve their art, and that's fine. And I get the feeling that something new will happen. One of the things I always tell people is, I can teach you anatomy, physiology, kinesiology to a degree, but if you want to know the structure of how force and power gets transferred, you need to go to a physicist or a engineer to show you, oh, okay, this is a mathematical formula of how and why you're trying to do certain things. This is how you get damage, because of the elastic collisions or inelastic collisions, and how force is transferred, and a lot of different things. And so one of the things is we are actually in a time when we can actually get experts to see different things. And I get the feeling that as time goes on, we will always have the professional fighters, professional MMA people who actually come in and tell you how they do stuff based on what works for them in, if it's an MMA, in a ring, or if it's in a tournament, how they do it in tournaments, and that's fine. But now we actually have something new. We have people, younger people now, who are using scientific method. They're actually going out and doing experimentations to see if things work a certain way, and they can use data. And so I get the feeling that in the future, we are going to start seeing seminars where you're going to have experts in different fields come in and talk to you about why this is a better way to do it, and they show you the evidence. And obviously there's going to be people who's like, oh, that's fine, I understand that, but I'm going to do it this other way anyways. But it will change the martial arts. It will make them better. It will make it so you can continue doing it for a longer period of time, and you will end up having less injuries. I hope you enjoy this. I don't know if you agree with me or not. Please leave a comment. And if there's any questions you would like me to address, please let me know. I will also continue doing different katas, going into the pretty much trying to use clinical anatomy pretty much to determine how to use different aspects of it in a more creative way. I hope you enjoyed this, and we'll have a nice day.